Entrepreneurs Unlimited with Mark Haney on KHTK Sports 1140 and HaneyBiz.com. Mark is a well-known local entrepreneur who has a passion for growing companies and uncovering the stories of other successful business people. Mark will share his and their experiences and hopes to ignite the entrepreneurial spirit within you. And now, here's Mark Haney.
Who inspires you the most in your life to do great things? Who challenges you to push your limits, to dream bigger, to build something in your life that deeply matters to you? Who is teaching you how to think differently? And where did your decision to realize your full potential and to achieve greatness come from? You did make that decision, didn't you, Clint?
Yeah.
You did? Yeah. Okay, good. So, you made the decision for greatness. Now what? Now what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. That's how we all feel.
I brought Clint in today. Tom Cisneros is off on assignment. His son is getting married, so we're missing him in the control room here today. But I've got Clint helping me out. I meant to talk today about Steve Jobs, and because the new Steve Jobs movie is coming out this week, and my wife was going to get tickets. She was sitting at ready to purchase tickets on Fandango. And we realized yesterday morning that the Steve Jobs movie is not opening up in Sacramento this weekend. Totally disappointed, but she hooked me up. We went last night and we saw a very, very, very good movie. It's called The Intern with Robert De Niro, and it was inspiring. So sometimes movies inspire you, and I would highly recommend The Intern. And sometimes you're just in that mood to be inspired. I think last night, preparing for the Steve Jobs movie, and I'm a fan of what he's done, watching The Intern was definitely a big treat. So thank you, Stacy. But even more inspirational than movies are real-world entrepreneurs, real-world guys who find a way to live up to their potential. The people that inspire me most are the guys that, a lot of times it's the underdogs, the underestimated, pioneers in business or in anything else that are so often misunderstood, the long shots, the first ones to get there and the last ones to leave. And I love those people that have the animal instincts and possess the guts to attack with the violence of action. And I think the most inspiring people that I know are the people that share the yes-if philosophy instead of no because. So if you're going to get out there and do something, you got to do it. If you're going to build a business, you got to build it. If you're going to fight the good fight, then we got to fight. If you're going to live, you got to live. Truly live. Somebody's got to win. I went over to James Beckwith's office, the president of Five Star Bank, the Entrepreneurs Bank, and I saw something on the wall that inspired me, and maybe we have a little common ground. I saw my favorite quote on the wall, and it was a Teddy Roosevelt quote from 1910. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood. And if you're in the arena now, or you're thinking about being in the arena, I suggest you listen to the next 2-3 guests that we have coming on the show. I'm Mark Haney, and welcome to Entrepreneurs Unlimited. Our first 2 guests today were best friends from junior high school, and they're real-world entrepreneurs fighting side by side to build a dream. They together are the men in the arena. When you come back, you're going to meet the founders of Sun Systems Technology and prepare to be inspired by Derek Chase and Murad Saidi when we come back in just a moment.
Now, here's Mark.
Alrighty, and welcome back. We are here with Derek Chase and Murad Saidi, founders of Sun System Technologies. How you doing, gentlemen?
Doing good. Yeah,
Doing
thanks
good?
for having us.
You bet. Thank you guys for coming in on a Saturday morning and sharing your entrepreneurial story. You know, the story that you guys have of at your age, you guys are 30 years old, is that right?
Yeah, that's
30 years old, you've built a company, you've got over 50 employees. Tell us a little bit about your company and how you got started. Derek, you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. So 2.5 years ago, I was actually laid off from my company.
Okay.
And I think timing has everything to do with it. And Murad was kind of finding his way, just getting through Sac State and kind of getting out of the downturn of the economy. And we kind of had this 2-month break where we kind of agreed to give it a shot. And we saw a need in the industry, growing solar industry. That was there was a need for quality control and supplemental services. And so we kind of, you know, day in and day out at Murad's house, kind of working from the kitchen table in the beginning.
So you got laid off and you decided to create a business plan with your friend from junior high, and the two of you guys hatched this on the table in the kitchen.
Yeah, you know, and it was just one of those things. Every morning we'd wake each other up, and you got to just have somebody to push you back and forth. And yeah, we'd hash this thing out, and then we kind of moved into our first little office. It was like 600 square feet. It was, you know, a huge risk for us at the time. Yeah, and we had some great local support, kind of getting things started. A lot of local companies kind of started us out with some smaller jobs that kind of got things going. SPI Solar, which was the company that actually laid me off. They were just going through a tough time, but as they rebounded.
So at SPI, you had 1,000 employees. How many employees were at SPI?
You know, I think at the peak there was probably like 1,200 or
1,200
something between that. Yeah, globally.
Yeah. So then they did a downsizing and you were let go.
Yeah.
That must have been devastating.
Yeah, it was a tough time. I just bought a house, and so we really had to make something happen within a couple months. We had a short time frame too, so that kind of created the urgency, and I think that's something that's really important as well.
Now, Murad, that was only 2.5 years ago.
Can you believe that? Yeah.
Now you guys have built a solar company with how many employees is it?
You know, it fluctuates, but yeah, we're up in the 50s.
Up in the 50s, and you have offices here in Sacramento and then beyond?
Yes, we have an office in San Diego and Ontario, and working on Fresno.
Oh, wow. Now, how are you? So in 2.5 years, you're over 50 employees, and the plan was hatched at the kitchen table. How did you guys, how did it go from 0 to 50?
First it was, literally it was Derek and I, doing service calls, and it just, they were liked what we did, and the work kept coming in. And so slowly, we grabbed our friends one by one, brought them onto the team. And, next thing you know, we're to 20, 30, 40, and, the need's there. And the work.
So tell us about your business. What do you guys do? You guys are doing solar maintenance?
Yeah, we take care of the systems that get installed. People think that, once the system's up, it's good to go for 20 years, but with everything, your car, you have to take care of it. You have to change the oil,
So then you end up with a maintenance contract. Is it more commercial or is it more residential?
Yeah, we do both sides. Originally, the business plan was to take care of like kind of solar farms and bigger commercial systems, and that's kind of what I did in my past life, and that was one of the bigger contracts we got from SPI to kind of get us started. Steve Kircher was pretty instrumental in that and kind of helping us get going. And then we kind of saw this huge boom in the residential leasing market, and residential really took off, and we saw an opportunity there. And it wasn't the greatest business model in the beginning, but we kind of stuck with it. And now we've kind of become a leader in taking care of residential systems as well as commercial.
Have you ever heard of the 10,000 hours term? It takes 10,000 hours to master a certain industry or a certain type of thing. I know Malcolm Gladwell has talked about that in his book, but that's, 5 years, 7 years, you become an expert in something. And it sounds to me like you became, Derek, an expert in solar. You learned that business and you gained a tremendous amount of respect, even though you were one of the people that ended up being downsized. Your first contract was with your former employer, and then you parlayed that relationship and that experience, that respect, you parlayed that into a business with Murad. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, definitely. I think, one of the things, when I was first kind of getting started in the workforce, that my brother actually told me, he said, "Hey man, just find something and get really good at it, because then you kind of always have something to fall back on." So that was pretty influential for me and proved to be true. And it kind of gives you that ability to take some chances here and there.
You bet. So Derek, you had the expertise in solar, the experience and the respect. Then you found Murad, or you reunited with your friend. And Murad, you're a general contractor, right? You've had a kitchen and bath type of business, and so you were able to take business experience or entrepreneurial type of experience and bring it to this to create this combination.
Right. Yeah, it was a family business, and started with sweeping the floors. We're 13 at kitchen remodels, and slowly just learn from all the guys that are on the crews, and all about quality. And that's why Derek and we're all on the same page. Quality first, and everything comes after that.
One of the things that you said earlier was that you started recruiting your friends. Now, you guys went to Bella Vista High School, right?
Yeah, Broncos.
Broncos, go Broncos! And you began recruiting friends that you knew from your childhood. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then, so tell us a little bit about that. What made you decide to go back into that set of people?
Well, first of all, we have good friends. Good guys, good character, and that's what it comes down to. The core is, do you want to go to war with this guy? Does this guy have your back? Is he going to represent your company the way you would represent your company? And that was like the prerequisite. Who do you trust?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, trust. Obviously, you've gone from zero or two guys to 50 something. What kind of wars have you and battles have you already undertaken? I know that it couldn't have been easy to go through that super fast trajectory. And how has the team rallied around and supported you?
Man, they've had had our back, and they've been awesome. Without them, we couldn't do this.
Is there any now? How's the structure work with 50 people? Who do they report to? They have now, Murad. Are you more the financial guy, and then Derek's a field guy, or the people guy? How do you guys divide it up?
Yeah, for the most part, I'll do a lot of the operational management side of things, and Rod's always watching the financial side. We're 100% organically grown, and so that's always a challenge. Rod's done a tremendous job with that. As far as it's tough to balance that budget with significant growth at the same time. But yeah, one of our key hires early on was another one of our childhood friends from junior high. This guy Jeff Hammer. And he's really runs the day-to-day operations and allows us to do a lot more business development and kind of keep the company growing.
Did he have experience in solar?
No, he didn't. But he just came in, and we just put in a lot of hours. You talk about the 10,000 hour things, and I think you can shorten that up if you put more hours in per day. From 5 years to 2.5 or 3. I
just think it's so interesting that you've put more emphasis on trust and who you would want to go to war with, versus the high-priced free agents that might be out there in the industry that know solar and they've been doing it for years. You decided to do it differently and go with people that you knew that you could count on that would be there in the end and would have your back.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
we had the same opportunities, and Derek was, he's big on, the farm system, teaching everybody from the beginning, and Derek had, Derek's knowledge is passed on through all of our employees, and I'm on the same page as, character first, and then you could teach someone who you could invest in.
So the two of you are 50-50 partners. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And there must be times when you can't can't come to agreement. Do you guys arm wrestle? How do you decide how to make a decision if the two of you can't agree?
Man,
bring in one of the high school buddies to referee.
Yeah, you're always looking for third and fourth opinions, but it's kind of if we have to make the decision, then it's just more work for us. So we got to sit in a room until we make a decision and get it done.
I think this whole thing, it works because we're we think logically and talk things out and listen. I think that's a big part. We listen to each other, and we got to keep an open mind, and there's some elements that someone else sees that I don't, and
that's great. Now so you brought in your friends from high school. Did you bring in any industry experts to help you out, guys with experience?
Yeah. So once our company kind of got to I don't know, we were like 25 or 30 employees. One of my mentors from my last company, who really kind of helped me grow, he was like a free agent at the time, and we were able to convince him to come work for us and bring some of his leadership to the rest of our company. James McRae has been in this solar industry, general contracting industry for 30 years. And so he kind of brings some of that senior leadership that we need, being kind of a relatively young company.
What prompted you to bring in senior leadership? Was there a problem? Was there a low point? What opportunity did you see?
Just being young and new, you're fighting a couple battles. Credibility it's kind of a big one, so you definitely want to address that. And then just experience. Where, like Murad said, we listen, and we're trying to avoid a lot of those mistakes early on that other people, we don't necessarily want to learn from them. We want to learn from other people's mistakes.
Have there been any big mistakes that have happened so far?
There's a couple that you learn from, and you kind of try to put I'm from the quality control side, so you just put quality controls in place to hopefully avoid those mistakes in the future.
But it's a young industry, so you're still blazing that path. So those mistakes have to happen, but we learn from them. That's the biggest thing. You only make that mistake once.
What about the opportunity? Since it's a growing industry and you're trailblazing, how do you differentiate yourself? What are you doing differently than other solar companies? What's your niche?
We're from the bottom up. We have the boots on the ground, and that's where we came up. You see other companies start from the top and try to hire down. We were in the trenches and slowly built up, to the top and grew it.
So your differentiation would be the people? Is that a fair statement?
Definitely.
Okay. Is there anything else? I mean, the service that you perform in maintenance, is that a unique service, or is there a ton of competition?
It really kind of came into its own as a sub field in the industry maybe a couple of years ago. So we kind of got in on the ground floor there as far as operations and maintenance of these systems. And really just what separates us is we don't spare any expenses. It's all about quality, and it's a long-term vision. We're all young. Our employees are pretty young. So we're trying to be in business for a long time, and really that's a reputational build process.
Yeah.
And so that's just it's quality nonstop.
You said that it was important to earn respect, and that the senior guy helped bring in some of that respect. What have you guys been discriminated against a little bit because you're young?
I don't know if it's us mentally, or just being new. I think it's a challenge any new company faces, whether we're personally young or the company's young. I think it's a little bit of both. So yeah, you're just trying to pack on the senior leadership, and kind of when you can, as you get to the level of to be able to afford some of those higher priced guys.
And also you got to think of the other side. We're dealing with $1 billion systems here. So turning that over to a company, people have to do their due diligence, and we got it.
Yeah, they have to trust you, and they need to trust your people, and you've got to have that quality control.
Yeah, and that's like when we got our first contract with Steve Kircher, that was a big trust factor. It's a $1 million project that put in Derek's hands.
Well said. I'm Mark Haney. We're talking to some very exciting entrepreneurial guys that are building a medium-sized business right here in our region. When we come back, we're going to find out a little bit more about the solar industry and Murad and Derek and their quest to grow their business. I'm Mark Haney. You're listening to Entrepreneurs Unlimited on Sports 1140, KHTK, streaming live, podcast, and YouTube at haneybiz.com.
Once again, here's Mark Haney.
All right, and we are back with Derek Chase and Murad Saidi, founders of Sun System Technologies. And I got to tell you guys, I'm having a little bit of a deja vu talking to you guys, because it reminds me of when I was your age. We owned some video stores. We had bought some video stores for my parents, and it was a TV shop originally, and the three brothers, and we ultimately ended up buying my older brother out. So the two brothers, my younger brother and I, built a video store business. We had probably 120, 130 employees. Then we got into a business called Northern Video Systems, and we probably had 40 or 50 employees by the time we were 30, right? I'm about 30, and we've got a lot of employees, and in a pretty short period of time. And as I hear your story, it brings back memories, because we did exactly the same thing. I brought in friends from high school. I brought in my brother-in-law, who's now a business partner with me in a different business. And they didn't have the experience we taught them what we believed was the best way of building something. And somehow it ended up turning out okay. So and we made a lot of mistakes. And you guys shared a little bit. You guys are 2.5 years in and growing the business. What keeps you up at night? Anything?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was really about us and our dream, and it quickly turns as soon as I think it was the first employee who had kids, and you kind of feel that burden. And quickly, that's what kind of keeps you up at night, just making sure everybody's going to, be able to take care of their family and pay their mortgages and things like that.
Yeah, it's such a responsibility to bring in friends and commit to a paycheck for that person and have them believe in your vision and your dream, and they get bought in and commit. This thing really needs to work, right? I mean, you've got your friendships on the line with people. How that responsibility must just feel immense.
Definitely, yeah. We're all in. So, like Derek said, it's not even about us anymore. It's Sun System, about everybody that's there, and that's in our hands. So we don't take that lightly.
Who's your inspiration? We talked a little bit about that at the beginning of the show. Steve Jobs inspires. Other movies can inspire. What about books? How are you inspired?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think one of the books we both read, and I think it was even maybe separate, or Rod kind of put me onto it, was the Think and Grow Rich book, which is like almost a scary book to read because you get like halfway through it and you put it down because you got to just 100% commit to things.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we were both totally on the same page as far as just the work ethic and what you got to put into it. And then the other book for me was Blink, which is making quick decisions and trusting yourself, and that really helps when you're growing really fast. Mm-hmm. You don't have a ton of time to analyze your moves.
Yeah.
Right.
One was good to great, and also Derek said the Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. It just opens up your eyes that you could do anything you put your mind to, and some people are afraid of that and they don't dive in all the way. We're all in.
Yeah. No fear.
No fear.
You guys don't have any fear?
A little bit, but you put that aside, and you can't show fear. You got to go 100% and lead the way.
What are you most fearful of? What's concerning?
Well, everybody. For me, a failure. Going this path, and especially as the team grows and they look to us to lead the way. I'm not gonna lie, it gets a little scary sometimes, but we building confidence in ourselves every day, and our track record is building, and confidence in ourselves that we are making the right decisions going forward. But it's all about going back. It's all about the team, and to good to great. The analogy of getting the bus, putting the right people on the bus, getting the wrong people off the bus,
right?
Finding where everybody needs to sit on the bus, and then finding out where we're going.
Yes. And those decisions. Now, you said Think and Grow Rich. Is the goal to grow the business and become rich? What's your goal?
We don't really know yet. I think more than anything, our hobby would be business no matter what. So it's not like, grow the business and make some money and sell it and retire or anything. So it's to learn right now more than anything, and kind of be cognizant of step back a little bit every now and then and kind of see how you're managing things and what you've learned, and how to apply that to something else bigger and better in the future, whether it's this company or another company going forward.
Yeah.
Just like yourself, I don't think it's something you could kind of turn off.
And Derek said, every day it's a learning experience. Every meeting, every situation, most of the situations is the first time we've dealt with situations, and it's awesome. We have a classroom every day to learn and and grow.
What advice do you have for people that would love to be an entrepreneur and don't know where to start?
Man, just do it one step at a time. Just keep moving forward. I know there's a lot of negative forces and adversity that you have to fight through, but first find out this is what you really want to do. Nothing could stop you.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that one of your team members had a baby, and that can be disruptive when you have a smaller company and one of your key players is having family, something exciting happening in their family, or something difficult even happening in their family. Talk to us about your family support. I know each of you has a support network outside of the company.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's my fiance Chantel and my little son Jack, and yeah, I mean, you can't put in 12 to 13 hours a day without the support at home and the understanding and the commitment of hopefully this is going to become something bigger and better. You got to sell that every now and then and keep them on board with kind of the dream. But yeah, the support's just been great. I mean, not only from them, but I mean, my brother, he comes in and helps weld things. My younger brother works at the company. It's really a big family endeavor, and totally on Murad's side too. Both our families are really close, so.
Yeah, definitely. I got to give a shout out to my mom. She was a huge inspiration in my life. She's awesome. My brother, I used to be in business with my brother, and those two, my dad and my stepdad, had huge parts to do with it.
And you're single too, is that right? Is
Yeah.
it okay if I
I
mention
thought
that
that's
on
why
the
I
air?
came on. That's why I came on the show.
So if you want to hang out with a really good-looking entrepreneur that's 30 and has got 50 employees, tweet us at @HaneyBiz Radio. We will get you connected to Murad. Okay, so and you have a child, Derek. You have a 13-month Jackson,
Yep.
13 months old, and a fiance. When's the big day? Have you already set a date yet?
Yeah, we're still kind of working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough because we want to put it out far enough to where we have time to kind of get focused on it, but you want to get it done too. So yeah.
Now you're a really decisive guy. You've got a 50-employee business, and you're only 30 years old, and now you're putting off the marriage for some undetermined time. I'm trying to understand.
I'll take blame for that one. I'll take blame for that one. No, but I
Put
gotta
me
give a thank you to Chantel for letting Derek, for me to still Derek away from her. And
Is
the
she
family.
jealous of you that you take too much time?
I take a lot of, the family time
Yeah.
away. But so, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. So where do you guys see yourself in, say, 5 years, 10 years? What's the company going to look like? Where's Murad going to be? Where's Derek going to be?
Yeah, I think I mean, we're definitely going. We're a labor company, so a lot of employees is definitely the goal. Creating a solid culture to have those people enjoy coming to work every day. So just continuing to build. There's a couple policy changes that are happening in the solar side of things that are kind of dictate a little bit more of how that turns out. But
Is that going to force you to diversify or to accelerate something you're doing?
I feel like we're fairly well diversified right now between kind of our long-term contracts and our short-term opportunities. But yeah, I don't know. 5 years is like 30 years in the solar industry, so
Okay.
it's really tough to say. I mean, right now we're focused on 2016. The tax credit's going away at the end of the year 2016, so this is really supposed to be the biggest year for solar ever on record. And so we're just really kind of focused on ramping up for that.
How about you? Where do you see it the same, or what do you see yourself doing in 5 years?
Yeah, no, I really think that Sun System is going to be a major player in the solar industry. In the 5-10 years, the connections that we've built, the respect that we're starting to get from bigger companies, they see us as a resource that they need, and they take our opinion and our expertise seriously.
And are you guys going to grow over the next 5 years? You think it'll be a lot bigger company?
I don't think we have a choice. I mean, the solar industry is growing, and we're just, we're keeping up with it.
And you talked about funding your business organically thus far. I know Mike Rizzo over at 5 Star Bank is somebody that you guys are familiar with and work with. Give us a sense as to how you're going to grow that business.
We just, background of our story, Derek and I were all in. Derek, had his severance that he threw in. I cashed out on my stocks, and, we put everything in on the table, and we said, okay, how long is this going to last? And we got to make this happen. And we self-funded, reinvested every dime that we made. We didn't have any outside investors, funding or anything like that. And we took it to where we could, and then we started working with Mike Rizzo, 5 Star, and
yeah, I think for the growth that we're really 10 to 20 employees isn't too bad, but when you go 50 and we're expecting to double that by February or March, which is great for the local economy and everything. But
Wow.
really looking to double that. And I think when you get to that level, you're definitely going to have to reach out and work with some of the local banks to obviously fund the growth.
Real world entrepreneurs working 12 plus hours a day, reinvesting everything they're making back into the business, cashing out their stocks to get it started, just taking that 10,000 hour rule and putting it on steroids. I'm Mark Haney. I just want to say that I am inspired by what you two young men are doing. I agree. It is great for our community. I think you are a shining example of entrepreneurship. And I definitely salute you. When we come back, we're going to meet another young man who is building a company called Top Quality Productions. They are in the marketing and T-shirt and different businesses that help other businesses to build their marketing portfolio. I'm Mark Haney, and we'll be back in just a moment.
What we did, our goal was to get a new client once every month. One
Okay.
new client a month. And we did that. And at the time, it was perfect. We were flowing. And then about 2 years ago, we started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Then we had to take a little bit step back and relax, slow down. But now it's amazing for us. We have been growing. We have tripled the business in the past 4 years. And
wow.
It's getting bigger and bigger.
Talk to us a little bit about your business. It's you do screen printing and T-shirts. I can tell you that firsthand as a client that you're like Tom. You are like the mailman. You deliver
Exactly.
and you do some. I'm wearing one of your shirts underneath this shirt, my Haney Garcia real estate shirt, and you guys do great work. There's a quality. I think Top Quality really is it's the perfect name for you guys. Now, you provide these kind of T-shirts. Give us a sense as to who your clients are and what your business is all about.
Right now, our client list includes River Cats,
Okay.
the Stockton Port. We actually just started working with Golden One Credit Union. We got our first order in last week, so that's a
Great.
huge thing for us. Package One with Tom.
Okay.
Allegiant Giving,
Right.
HGR, Haney Biz, SSI, all those guys. Chico State. And our big school client right now is Oakmont High School.
Okay.
They're going through their big anniversary, 50 years, and they have been great to us. We've been there since day one, and we've been going back and forth.
And those of you new to the show might not know that I am a C student from Oakmont High School, so that's my old alma mater. How are those guys treating you over there? Sounds like they're giving you some business.
Yeah, they're great, and I also coach soccer over there too.
Right. Now, you have a background in sports, and I guess soccer's something you were really good at. Tell us about how your coaching and your sports background is helpful in the business.
Just being a leader. I mean, to have a great company, you need to have a great leader. And then from playing sports, I grew up in a family of a big sport family. Both my older brothers played soccer, so it was very competitive for me. And coaching and playing soccer formed me to who I am today, with being a leader and really trying to reach your dreams.
And did your mom coach you in soccer?
Yes, she coached me.
She coached boys soccer
Yes.
or men's soccer?
Boys soccer.
Okay, boys soccer.
So she coached me when I was from under 6 to under 12.
Okay. And
Great coach, by the way.
And is it true now that your mother is an employee of Top Quality?
Yes, she is.
How is that having your mom work for you?
It's great. Sometimes it gets a little testy, but in any kind of business, that's going to happen. But she has been a great help for me. My dad, Joe, he's been a great help too. And their support has driven me to keep the business growing and keep it going and going.
Yeah, your dad has a financial background, and I know your mother was in education and obviously coaching. What kind of, how does it get testy? You said it gets testy. What do you mean?
We're just like any other son and mother relationship. You're gonna have your head butting, but every once in a while we gotta take a step back, then we gather ourselves and come back to the table and work it out.
Now, in building your business, what keeps you up at night? What do you worry about?
For me is getting the next client. That's my biggest concern. How can I reach new clients? How can I reach the Sacramento area, Nevada area, and try to keep getting bigger at a good pace for us?
It sounds like your clients are larger organizations or even small business, but they're businesses. They're more corporate type clients versus individuals trying to just get a few T-shirts made. And so you said you have businesses in Southern California as well. Where is your business focused?
Our business right now, we're trying to focus more towards corporate. The company down in LA that we work with is called Mirage Builders, and they do a lot of hotel work down in Vegas and in the LA area. And that's who we're kind of going for now. We love working with schools too.
And one of your clients is the River Cats, and isn't it true that you used to work for the River Cats?
Yes,
And what did you do for you do for the Sacramento River Cats?
I was actually the mascot, so I was Dinger,
You were Dinger
for 3 years.
And I was talking to Carrie before the show, and she mentioned that there was a time where, as Dinger, you were able to go out and visit a young person that wanted to meet you. Can you tell us that story?
Yeah, my mom met a lady whose son is autistic, and he wasn't allowed to see Dinger at that time, or he missed the day of school when Dinger was there. So my mom set up an appointment with the school, and it was supposed to be a 30-minute. I go in and hang out with him for a little while, but turned to a 3-hour visit, which was completely amazing. He took me around to all his friends, had lunch, took me around to all different classrooms and teachers, and I hung out with him for 3 hours, and it was an amazing experience.
Very cool. You know, if you need T-shirts, if you need marketing, memorabilia, or things to promote your business, I can tell you firsthand that Tom and his family and Top Quality Productions does a fantastic job. We only have about a minute left. Can you give us a sense as to where the company is going, and what if people want to get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of us is to go to our website, is topqualityproductionsonline.com, or you can give us a call at 916-797-0430. And this company is going in the right direction. With the support that I have from my family, my friends, my girlfriend Sage, we're keep going. They push me to get better and better every day, and I'm learning more and more every single day.
Wow. Top Quality Productions. I want to thank you, Tom, for coming on the show. I also want to thank our earlier guests, Derek Chase and Murad Saidi, for inspiring us, young people doing great things in our community. I want to thank our sponsors personally. We talked about James Beckwith, but there's a handful of people helping us put this show on, and it is appreciated. I'll be back in just a minute with some closing thoughts that might cause a light bulb to turn on for entrepreneurs out there, or for anyone that has a quest to succeed. I'm Mark Haney, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Once again, here's Mark.
Our guests today, quite inspiring. They represent the young men that are fighting in the arena, taking very real risk, and they possess such a humble demeanor. These guys are so likable. And I can tell you from my own experience that getting to 50 employees in 2.5 years, that does not happen by accident. That takes work. That takes respect. That takes something unique and a special drive. And I think there's a compounding effect that happens that these guys, all of these three, were able to share with us today. And you've probably all heard the term, the compounding effect, and you hear that term, and a lot of times you think of investment. When you invest money, there's a compounding effect that occurs. If you, let's say you invest in an investment, and you get a 12% annual return compounded, that's going to double in value in 5 years. And at 10%, that investment's going to double in value in 7 years. But I think these guys were able to demonstrate today, these young entrepreneurs demonstrated that there's a compounding effect of experience. Their experience that they have in solar or in being a contractor or in other areas, sports, other areas of their life. They were able to parlay that experience and get a compounding effect on that experience, which is something I think a lot of times we forget about, that experience has such value. And if you stay in an industry or you stay in an occupation that you know, that compounds just like your interest in the bank or a real estate investment. But there's also a compound. I was having a discussion with a guy named Timmy at my office, and we were talking about the compound effect on respect. The compound effect on respect. When people respect you, like Derek Chase and Murad Siadi, their friends from high school are clamoring to come in and be on the team with them, help them build something. And so that time that they spent was not wasted. They had respect from their younger years, and they've been able to use that in later years. And the respect that they had from SPI Solar, Steve Kircher, the founder of SPI Solar, he gave his first contract to Derek because he respected him and he stayed in the industry. And so I guess what I would say to Timmy or to anybody out there who's thinking about, what am I going to do with my life? I'm going to graduate from college, and what am I going to do? If you completely switch gears because your dream is in some other area, then fantastic. Go chase that dream. But if your dream is in the area of building a business and being an entrepreneur, you might think about the respect that you have built thus far, because that respect, it carries with it a compounding effect. If you're in high school and you get in a fight and you punch some guy, the people around the high school understand that that dog bites, and that respect carries on, and people understand who you are a little bit better. So I think about Steve Jobs and his friend Steve Wozniak, and them building Apple and starting like these two young guys early on. And Steve Jobs, without a doubt, has inspired so many people. These young men have inspired me today. I hope they've inspired you. But I'm going to leave you with this quote from Steve Jobs that I think you've all heard before, but I'm going to read it one more time. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs and the square holes, those who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as crazy, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who actually do. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Never above you, never below you, and always by your side. I want to thank these guests for being on the show today. I want to thank God for giving us Steve Jobs. And thank you for shining a light on this country that was built by the crazy men and women who courageously seized their opportunity to compete in the arena. And God bless America.